Ali Rojo coming in today with a little update on the air yards average and usage percentage for the season end of season 2 of the Madden 21 cycle. Sorry I'm coming to you guys a little bit later. Normally I'd like to do this a little bit earlier so people have a heads up coming into the final games of the week of anyone that they might have to sit. Luckily it looks like for the most part people were on top of it this season and didn't really need a heads up. Looking at the air yards average, I don't even think we're going to have anybody. I was going through and all the guys that look like they're in danger as far as having the top averages are either way under 30 receptions, which is a requirement, and then the rest like Odell Beckham and Rico Gafford and all these other guys that are up there, they have so many rack yards, like with the 523, 395, 590, 328, 453, that the rack brings them down on almost every single one. So no one was really close this season on the air yards, so that's really good. We didn't have too many last year, but I think we did have 2, and then I think we had like 6 guys or so that were on the cusp last season. But this year it was a lot better. We didn't have anyone going over the air yards average. Once we kind of got in the range down here, I just stopped checking. But everyone is good to go there. As far as usage goes, we did have maybe like 4 or 5 guys that were in danger. Some of them I'm not sure. Let me check and see who has played and see if anyone in danger still even has to play, because we are in week 17 already, and some people have played and some people have not. So let me just take a look, see who's played.
Hey, couple of bands up in my pocket. I don't want pulse to get wild nonsense. We got momentum, don't try to stop it. Diamonds are clearer than my conscience. I don't let bygones be bygones. That's when I'm honest. Penthouse building reach heaven.
So it looks like there's only a couple guys on here that haven't played yet, so that gives those guys a chance. Like I said, sorry it's a little bit late this time around, but there is a couple guys that are going to have a chance, and there's only one person right now who's actually over, and so I don't know if that's something he's going to consider for this game. The ones that were on the cusp that have already played, so they should be in the clear now if they have played already, because I just did these, so if they had already played already, then it would have been good. Was let's see. The first one was the Saints. He had Alvin Kamara. He had 102 reception. I was a little bit worried about him because actually this one I knew he played the game, and I was a little bit worried for him because Alvin Kamara actually got a decent amount of looks, and I thought maybe that might put him over, but he was just under with at the 102. He ended up at 28.9%, but being that game's played and there's no more games for the season, he's in the clear. Another one that I was going to put on here just in case he hadn't played, but since he has played, he's good now. He's well under. I was just going to give him a heads up in case he decided to play this player. But Paris Campbell for the Colts was sitting right at 27.5% with his 77 receptions. But with his game being played, he doesn't have to worry about that. Another guy who was a little bit close was the Jets, but that game's also been played, so he's good to go now. Devonta Smith with his 77 had 28.1%, so he's good. So those 3 guys are all good to go, all set up. There is 2 guys that have their games left to play. One of them is over, and one is not over, but just close enough that I thought I'd mention it. The first one that's close enough to mention it, that this upcoming game he might have to consider how many looks he's getting them in the reception area, is the Eagles. He has Miles Sanders with 66 of the receptions is currently at 27.8%, and I think that's mainly due to him having a lower completion than some of those other guys. Like some of those guys were up in 77, they weren't quite that close, but they had more overall passes, but at 66 receptions, he's at 27.8%, which kind of maybe puts him in a pickle because he might have to choose between winning his final game of the season and or taking away some looks from Miles Sanders, who's one of his top guys. And I think this is a must-win game for Burn. So he might have that in the back of his head, and maybe his opponent might also have that in the back of his head, that he might be having to take looks away from Miles Sanders in this game to keep him from getting suspended. But he's also in a must-win situation, so who knows what he'll do there. But just a heads up, he's currently at 27.8%, so you only got a little flex there. But you should be good if you don't use him like a crazy amount. If he doesn't get the bulk of the receptions, he should be good. The other one who's actually above right now and in danger of being in suspension if he doesn't either get way less than normal or maybe even bench him completely. But I think he's also in a must-win situation if he wants a chance for playoff. The Detroit Lions have Amon-Ra St. Brown with 89 of the total receptions for the team, and he is currently at 30.6% of the team's receptions, so that puts him above currently. Cookie has an important game coming up, so who knows if he'll bench Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been essential to his game plan thus far, but he does have some other options with Kenny Galladay, also a superstar wide receiver, TJ Hawkinson, a solid tight end, solid young tight end, and DeAndre Swift. And Marvin Hall's had a little bit of an emergence the latter end of the season, so he does have some other options, but Amon-Ra St. Brown has been the guy so far, but we'll see how he goes with that because he does need to bring it down a good percent to not get a suspension on that one. So I know this was a pretty quick, short one, but that's kind of a good thing. That's because everybody stayed on top of it this year. Not too many people in danger of breaking the rules. So far, we only have one over the limit and just one other one that's in danger. So good job this year, guys. And I will post this up on the website. So if anybody wants to refer back to this, if they're worried that they were in danger and they wanted to see if they cleared, or if you didn't calculate it yourself, here it is for you. And anyone with remaining games, hopefully you see this and you got a game plan to get those guys under. We'll catch you guys on the next one. Y'all have a good one.